Welcome everyone to WWE 2015. Oops, how I would book it. This is the week 2 of January 2015, Monday Night Raw. As you see right here, this is the pre-show matches. We started with Darren Young versus one of the jobbers, and then Sami Zayn, and the good old-fashioned that. Now we go into the match promoting the WWE World Heavyweight title match for Royal Rumble between Seth Rollins, John Cena, and the defending, reigning WWE World Heavyweight Champion, Brock Lesnar, where Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins argue to begin the show as both men make a claim to the world title, but both men agree John Cena is the past. The opening match is Sheamus versus Tyson Kidd, which I would say did really defy my expectations, getting a very high rating and proving that maybe both men have some upward mobility and need to be trusted a little more. Rusev and Lana. Lana comes out. Lana says, speaking on behalf of Rusev, that it is just like Americans to be afraid of being looked at as less than another nation. That's why America always tries to get involved in other people's business, but never tries to go into a war they can't win. But it's happened before, and every time that somebody stepped in the ring with Rusev, it's just another loss for America, because Rusev proves that Russia has officially won the Cold War from America, and even though they might have won it against the Soviet Union, Rusev is making all Americans grateful he wasn't a part of the Soviet Union. Otherwise, America wouldn't exist today. Swagger can't stand Lana's voice and accepts the challenge of Rusev. Lana also throws something out like it would have been the Soviet Union taking out the United States and ending the United States' reign of terror would have done a favor for the world. But our ruler showed pity. Rusev will never show pity to anyone because he has proved that Russia has a superior athlete. And Rusev and Swagger have a very good match, and this leads to highlights of Dean Ambrose versus Bray Wyatt from SmackDown, aka the SmackDown Rebound. Seth Rollins and Kane. They talk about how Kane is going to take out John Cena tonight and make it impossible for Cena to be at Royal Rumble in 2 weeks. Now, backstage we go. Curtis Axel bumps into Dolph Ziggler. Backstage, scratching that, let's say Dolph Ziggler bumps into Curtis Axel. And Curtis has said he's tired of being looked over. He's tired of being taken advantage of. And he's tired of being an afterthought. And he's going to use Dolph Ziggler tonight as his stepping stone to make it where he is not considered an afterthought anymore. But in true WWE form, Dolph overcomes Curtis Axel, and Curtis Axel remains an afterthought. Luke Harper. What better way to make sure that people don't forget about the World Intercontinental Champion than to let him have a video every now and again to show his domination. Ambrose. See, in my book, I think Ambrose could work best giving him complete control over his promos and letting him write his promos, but giving him direction of where you want to see his promos go. So that's what I'm doing. But I will tell him that, to direct it towards building to a match against Bray at the Royal Rumble. And now we move on. The announcers recap last week when Brad Maddox got attacked by a mystery man, and all the announcers are questioning who will be the new general manager of Raw. Backstage, once again, Seth Rollins is talking to somebody on the phone. We don't know who it is. We don't know. I mean, people think they know who it could be, but nobody knows who it is for sure, because Seth makes sure not to slip up, and our camera gets ran out of the backstage area. When Seth realizes that there's a camera there. Now we move on. Ryback against Heath Slater. Right now I don't have anything for Ryback. I'm just, shoveling him along to get him to a point where I might have something for him, but where that's in the beginning process, I guess you could say. Now we move backstage as Xavier Woods is being interviewed about the New Day's match later tonight against The Nation. Xavier Woods basically says something to the effect of, the Nation think that just because they have a proven track record that they are automatically guaranteed a title shot. Proven track records give you nothing, especially when you lose to New Day. You want to get the title shot, you gotta get us out of the way first. And that ain't gonna be that easy. And now we move as Daniel Bryan is shown walking backstage, which moves now to Daniel Bryan talking to Bad News Barrett backstage. And Barrett walks, and the only thing that Barrett says to Bryan is, "I'm afraid I've got some bad news for ya." And Bryan's like, he waits, and all Barrett says is, "I'll see you in the ring." Showing that Bryan versus Barrett will happen later tonight. Now, AJ Lee versus Summer Rae. This shows why, in my opinion, Nikki and Brie and Paige and AJ are the only divas that ever get the TV time, because they are the best divas on the roster. Oh, Natalya too, but let's just leave it the way it is. Okay, now we move 57 as compared to a 47 with AJ and Summer Rae. The Bellas taunt AJ, and they basically say that, well, Nikki does, that AJ is not in her league, and that the Divas title will get off the kid and come to a real woman at the Royal Rumble. And then AJ grabs the mic and dishes pulls out a promo like her husband would cut, and says something to the effect of maybe, I don't know, I said it before. That insult would mean a lot more if it wasn't coming from two failed actresses. Now we move on. Once again, guys, I apologize for seemingly not knowing what to say in certain promos. I'm just improvising all this. And usually it takes me a good amount of time to do it, so I'm trying to squeeze it into a shorter amount of time. And it's not that easy. But bear with me, I'll get used to it. And it'll become easier. The Nation of Domination versus Kofi and Big E, aka the New Day. New Day. So I finally have the Nation and defeat the New Day to set up D'Lo and Mark versus Cody and Goldust at Royal Rumble for the WWE World Tag Team titles. And this is where Mark and D'Lo basically say, there's no more ducking us. We took care of the New Day, and come Royal Rumble, through hell or high water, we're going to take care of you two freaks and take the tag team titles back with us. Now we move to a video package on Roman Reigns, who has been somewhat forgotten about because of his hernia injury. But he's back. He's back against the Intercontinental Champion, Luke Harper. I just want to explain, with considering the fact that I actually do have bigger plans for Roman Reigns, this is not Roman burying Luke Harper because Harper lost one match does not mean he got buried. If he keeps losing and losing and losing and losing and losing, then you could start saying, why are you burying him? I'm not burying him. One loss is not burying someone. Just because you may not like the guy he lost to, or may think that the guy he lost to never loses, that doesn't mean the guy's getting buried. That just means that the company has something for one guy, but nothing for the other guy, so why should they have the guy they have nothing for win? Thank you. Now, here is where Roman declares his intention of entering this year's Royal Rumble and joining, I believe, Dolph Ziggler and Daniel Bryan as entries in the Royal Rumble. Now we move on to my friend John Cena, getting interviewed by Byron Sexton about his match with Kane later tonight. Though Cena's one of those people that I could give, just bullet points to, like, direction and tell him where I want it to go and he could take it there. I could completely agree with that. But I'm going to give Cena a little more, and I'm just going to say that, I'll tell him to talk about the history between him and Kane, why this match means a lot now, and it's not just another match between these two guys, how if he gets Kane out of the way, then he'll have more of an ability to be able to get to Seth Rollins, and that, if he takes care of Kane, Kane will be a distraction at Royal Rumble, he needs to prove to himself he can win, so on and so forth. Stuff like that. Now we move on to this match that was made earlier in the night, or announced earlier in the night with Bad News Barrett and Daniel Bryan. And this match is one of the longer matches on the show, going 12 minutes. Daniel wins. And this also maybe gives me a little insight of maybe a future rivalry between these two. Who knows? Who knows where it'll go? But it's a good match, and promotes the expectations. Raises my awareness. When I see people have good matches, it raises my awareness of them and makes me more likely to push them in the future. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Here I promote the history of John Cena and Seth Rollins, which is much needed going into their match at the Royal Rumble. Here is Kane's interview with John Cena, saying that where Kane would, just like Cena, be highlighting the history between the two that the two have, but also promoting the fact that this is nothing like their other matches, because this is Kane finally stepping up and taking care of a problem that the Authority has had for about 3-4 months now, and finally putting John Cena out to pasture. Here, a classic, trademark, whatever you want to call it, Bray Wyatt promo, where Bray would come down to the ring, cut a promo, and he does it on Ambrose, and much like Ambrose's promo earlier in the night, I'll give Bray complete freedom, maybe a little bit of direction, like I said with Ambrose, I would want Bray to, like, maybe set the seeds that the two are going to have the blow-off at Royal Rumble, and that's where we'll go with them right now. Right here is not just, if this was real, it would be one of those where it's a side-by-side camera of Cena and Kane both walking to the ring as we go to commercial. And now the main event, Kane versus Cena. Cena continues to build momentum going into the Royal Rumble. And Kane, plays the part. Let's put it that way. I thought the show was going to be better, but I guess it wasn't. Unfortunately, it wasn't as good as it should have been, or could have been, or had to have been. But yeah, it's gonna take some time to get my direction over, I would think. And the Royal Rumble is a big step for me with this company. I'll see you at SmackDown. Hope you enjoyed.